Hey guys, All in Crypto here and welcome back ladies and gents for another YouTube video. I hope you are all feeling a little bit better than perhaps some of you were yesterday. We are seeing a relative recovery across the board. Ultimately guys, we are still watching Bitcoin very, very closely. We're going to jump into Cardano, we're going to jump into some smaller time frames. We still think you've started that fifth leg of your Elliott wave theory that, of course, we believe is going to take you to around about that $7.50 mark and possibly beyond. So we are going to jump into some smaller time frames. We're going to, of course, look at Bitcoin because right now what we're watching for is what Bitcoin is going to do. If it decides to make another rising wedge, there is a likelihood we could potentially pop to the downside out of that and continue to fall lower. I don't really want to jump into any kind of smaller time frames. What I am seeing in Bitcoin right now, though, is quite a lot of volume, quite a lot of strong buyers coming in at this point. Could this potentially be a flaw? We're really going to have to wait a couple of days to see what this kind of structure sets out to be. But Cardano, guys, is showing a lot of strength. Certainly, if you look at it on a weekly, it's still up 14%. The whole market is, in my opinion, going to recover. And I want to talk to you guys about something that I believe is imperative that each and every one of you understand, especially you younger guys who are just sort of getting into the investment space. I want to talk to you about what essentially you're looking at when you're looking at charts. You're looking at an asset in comparison with the US dollar. I have 1,000,001 reasons to believe that the US dollar is going to get continuously weaker and weaker and weaker. I think it's part of a bigger plan, if you will. And ultimately what this is going to mean is you are going to see something like Cardano, something like Bitcoin, your other commodities out there, stocks, increase in value in accordance with the US dollar getting weaker. Why is it that I believe that? Well, we all know what's happened as a result of the kind of situation we've all found ourselves in. They've had to print a lot of money. As a result of this, what they're essentially doing is devaluing the dollar. It's not just the dollar, it's every single fiat system out there. Year on year, the fiat systems were getting devalued as it was. You know, they give you the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, which is usually, around about 2%. I actually think those stats are inaccurate. I think they are largely manipulated, and ultimately I think the rate of inflation, certainly if you take into account things like shrinkflation and other various indicators of what true inflation is, I think 2% is just like, overly optimistic. But what I want to talk to you about is, and the President of the United States essentially has come out saying monthly child tax credit payment to start hitting bank accounts July the 15th. This is obviously as a kind of stimulus, as a relief. I'm not sure why children are necessarily getting it if adults get it. I think this is a very dangerous line for me to walk in regards to commenting on whether stimulus is a good or bad thing. Ultimately, I'm for the people, and I genuinely believe that if people need help, you should give it to them. That's part of being a good individual, is helping out your fellow human being, regardless of, anything else. But I'm not sure that this is the answer. And I also think that what this does is it hurts everybody, because you all get paid in fiat, so you'll get paid in a dollar terms if you live in the United States. Your wage is essentially going down as a result of this, not in the sense that the amount of dollars you're getting is going down, but in a sense that the value that those dollars carry is decreasing. I hope what I'm saying to you guys right now is making sense. That's why I'm largely in the crypto space. It's certainly one big factor why I'm in crypto, and I don't mind being all in crypto, is because I understand that, the financial system that we already have in place isn't doing too well. I want you to bear that in mind. We're going to, of course, jump into Cardano on a smaller time frame and take a look at what's happening. We're going to look at Bitcoin and kind of give you a rough idea of what is happening. And like I say, you're seeing a lot of volume come in here. You're seeing there was a lot of sell volume that came in which was kind of met and actually dwarfed by buying volume. I think you're seeing some very, strong signs of strength. Your wicks at the moment certainly all seem to be landing in a similar place. Like I say, we've still got that $41,500 mark that we would like to see act as support. We are still pinned under this EMA. If we look at it on a weekly time frame, and like I said, the reason that we're showing you Bitcoin right now is because you need to understand that Bitcoin, Cardano is going to do. What happens with Cardano is largely linked to what's going to happen with Bitcoin over the next couple of days. Remember what I said to you at the start of the video about the whole dollar getting weaker? This is a good thing for not only crypto, but commodities, stocks, any kind of asset out there is going to obviously go up in terms of value. Housing, because the dollar's getting weaker. The cryptocurrency is no different from that. You need to, as an investor, not just look at the crypto space. You need to look at the overall picture. You need to take into things like account like interest rates, because they are a very scary thing when it comes to investing. They can literally tank a market. If they decided to up interest rates, markets would take a big hit as a result of that, because money would then become harder to borrow. I'm getting way off topic, guys. But what I'm essentially trying to tell you is that we're still waiting to see what Bitcoin does. We need to see it not get pinned underneath this EMA for too long, and the EMA to do something like this, and we could form a death cross. We need to pop back up this EMA and continue this bull run, which I do believe we are going to do. It's just whether we decide that recovery. It's just really trying to decide our entry points, whether we want to open positions up right now, or whether we think there's still a little bit of capitulation and deciding what kind of where we're going at play. And ultimately, you could still roll over from here. Like I say, we're watching for that ascending triangle right now. If we form another one of those, and there aren't other signs to kind of suggest that we're going to continue going up, we'll then, renegotiate. But we are going to keep you up to date on everything. Cardano, though, guys, looks brilliant. Like I say, we are in that fifth and final wave, in my opinion, that is going to see a large part of our performance. We are still pinned beneath this EMA. You are not out of the woods yet by any means, shape, or form. We have some buy orders, and it's it's a really good idea to set buy orders. I still have buy orders, I told you in yesterday's video, set right the way down at $1. I don't think I'm going to get filled on that at all, but if I did, great. That's how confident I am in Cardano, how low it can go before I'm willing to, I would still be buying. If it dropped 50% from here, I would be going as heavily into this project as I possibly could be. I'd be locking it up in staking pools and really waiting for a good idea, a good sort of time frame to take profits. So with that said, I think you're largely dependent on Bitcoin. I think Cardano has shown real strength. I mean, if you look on a weekly, it's still doing very well. It's largely dependent on what Bitcoin does, but ultimately, if you look at a macroeconomic environment, the dollar, due to things like the packages that they're giving out, and they're now giving it to children. It's like, why are you working for something they're giving away? There is a greater meaning that I'm trying to get across to you guys with this channel. We are all in crypto, and that is our specialty. However, I am somewhat confused with why we're working for something that they're just giving out. And also, if you take into account, in the Market Sniper, a guy called Francis Hunt, who he's got the Market Sniper and the Crypto Sniper. He is definitely worth watching. This man has obviously been about for a long time. He's a South African chap, and he's very spot on, very enlightened with what he says. Definitely worth watching and listening to. I know some of you are really only in the crypto space, but listening to his overall kind of market sniper videos will help you gain a real understanding of the macroeconomics of things and why you should be in certain assets, certain stocks, perhaps certain commodities, certain equities, certain cryptos. As a sort of an overall statement, the crypto space is going to do exceptionally well because it's a new thing. It's still growing. It still has to grow. It still has to reach a maturity. and get to a kind of more stable level and become a real asset, if you will. Right now, it's still a bit of a rogue. We know that you have companies like JP Morgan, etc., that are looking at it as a more traditional kind of legacy asset now, but it still has a long way to go. And part of that is it accruing a much higher market cap. You're $2.05 trillion today. That is going to grow exponentially. The crypto market is going to be significantly, in my opinion, worth more than the gold market. Remember, gold is only one asset in its own class. Inside the crypto market, you have thousands of cryptocurrencies. Yes, some of them are garbage, but there are at least 100 cryptos out there that have real value and are actually changing the world in many ways. So we still have a large growth from that potential. If you then add on to that the fact that when you're looking at these charts, you are comparing them against the US dollar, and the US dollar is set to just continuously get weaker in terms of its buying power, which means you are going to see the crypto space do well on the back of that. What you have, ladies and gentlemen, is a perfect storm. And we like to make videos like this where we kind of cover the whole macro state of things. Really, if we look at Cardano in terms of an update, we did sell through some of those resistances that we put off, but ultimately you're still pinned down right now. This is short-term bearish, in my opinion. Until we see some kind of a pop-up above this EMA, we see other indicators like the RSI maybe go to oversold, and we think we're going to make new legs on that. We are still waiting for an entry point, and ultimately what's reliant on right now is what Bitcoin decides to do over the coming couple of days. You know, we are seeing a lot of uncertainty affect this market, and like I say, one thing that I do like to see is you saw quite a big sell pressure come in, and then you saw that get dwarfed by buy pressure. So we could indeed be bottoming out of this range. All your wicks are tending to fall around similar areas, which shows quite an indecision right now. You know, it shows a real fight taking place. We said we saw that with Cardano back over here. You know, you're seeing this. You know, you're seeing a lot of indecision going on. You're seeing a real fight take place. But ultimately, we're just sitting and we're waiting for now. And we are. The lower it gets, the more we're going to end up accumulating, essentially. And that's how you should be looking at this. You should be in cryptocurrencies and in other assets, but crypto is really the fastest horse in the race, if nothing else, as a hedge against inflation. There is a real value proposition and opportunity setting up in the crypto space that I would like as many of you, and I'm not a financial advisor, and whatever I say on this channel, do not take it as advice. It's my opinion that I'm here sharing with you guys. In yesterday's video when we spoke, a lot of the comments were not negative, but people quite down in the dumps. This is part of being an investor. You're not going to be up 100% of the time. The trick is to be up more than you're down, which I'm sure a lot of you are out there. It's not nice watching your portfolio. Take that from somebody who, on a daily basis, is swinging a lot of money around. You need to somewhat detach yourself from that. It's easier said than done. It's easier for me to say that than perhaps some of you out there. But you need to detach yourself, and we always try and tell you, look at the bigger time frames, like the weekly. You can see we are still bearish. We did call that just as we open up a new candle. That's the kind of information and value you get out of this channel. We call it as it's happening. But if you switch to a kind of longer time frame, you can see you are still very overextended from this EMA. We do think you are in that fifth and final leg. And ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, you have nothing to worry about, in my opinion. If you look at a macroeconomic stance on everything, you can see that, you know, the dollar value, the dollar price of these cryptos are going to go up exponentially on nothing else other than inflation. And then if you take into account what's actually going on here, and the value proposition that you have in front of you in terms of, you know, this being a new financial system that really is largely not tethered to the existing, you know, you have a perfect storm. I've said on numerous occasions we're moving towards a new world, and blockchain technology is going to be at the helm of that. I am certain of that, and a project like Cardano is at the helm of that. It's the most innovative in my experience crypto of them all. It's literally the third generation cryptocurrency that is about to, you know, they're rolling out the testnet for Alonzo. Lots of people out there will buy the testnet and sell the mainnet. So the testnet last time I think gave us like an 18x. This testnet is going to see the price of Cardano go up exponentially. That is Alonzo. That then completes the Goguen era, which is where we have smart contract capabilities rolled out, which means an entire ecosystem could be built on Cardano. Ladies and gentlemen, do not get shaken out of this market. You should never have more money than you can afford to lose. I do have that, but I can afford to lose. I can afford to go to zero in my bank account. It's not going to make much difference to me because I'm young enough to shake it off and get on with my life and move on to the next thing. But focus. We're not out of the woods yet at all by any means. We're still sat here waiting to see what Bitcoin does. Lots of people saying, oh, look, the bottom's in, this, that, the other. Ultimately, you don't know. There's no indications right now that the bottom is in whatsoever. You could quite easily spill out of this the same way you could start to have a kind of moderate recovery where we see the altcoins perform exceptionally well. Like something like Cardano, we see it pop back above that 20 EMA and continue to impulse on the upside. I think I've waffled on for long enough. I hope you guys have all understood that about the fact that when you're looking at charts, you're looking at it in comparison with the US dollar. And the value of that, in my opinion, is going to go down. It's obvious. They do have things in their toolbox they could do to kind of scare you, like increase interest rates. But they would be kind of hanging themselves doing that because they have a lot of kind of debt value themselves. They would be increasing their payments, which they kind of couldn't pay off. So I don't really think they're going to do that, but they can certainly threaten to do that and shake a few more of you out. Don't get shaken out. I hope you're all doing all right. Stay tuned to this channel because we are going to chariot you through not only this bull market, but into the bear market and into the bull market after that. You know, we're here for you guys. The reason this channel is here is because we really care about people like yourselves, the little guy making money. That's what we're all about on this channel, ladies and gentlemen. So if you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. And I will see you hopefully all on the next YouTube video, guys. So get subscribed and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.